I'm getting old. It's not easy. It's a lot of numbers. 64, 12, 12, 64, 12, 12, and 48, 10, 48, 108, 12. Bam. Got it. All right, let's do it. What's up, everyone? It is Samsung Day, and in front of me, of course, we've got the three new Samsung S20 phones, the S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra. Now, obviously, S20 smaller phone, S20 Plus, slightly larger phone, S20 Ultra, it's the kitchen sink. Everything is in this phone. Anything you've ever wanted in a phone is in this device, which we'll talk about in just a second. But let's go on to the S20 and S20 Plus, because I think for a lot of people out there, this is where you're going to want to live at, because these are all flagship devices. Now, they all come with the Snapdragon 865. Here in Singapore, we get the Exynos 990 processor in it. So for both of these, you get 64 megapixels for the telephotos, 12 megapixel for the wide, and 12 megapixel for the ultra wide. You are going to get a beautiful, beautiful Infinity WQ HD Plus display, up to 120 hertz refresh rate. But when you do 120 hertz refresh rate, it does go down to FHD Plus. So do keep that in mind. But honestly speaking, when you use 120 hertz, you're not gonna miss the WQ HD Plus resolution. You're really not. It's still beautiful. It's still vibrant. These are phenomenal displays in the phone. One thing about the S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra, one thing that I really appreciate about the design is that waterfall display is sort of gone now. It's more flatter. It's more flatter. Is that even a word? It's flat. It's a flatter display. Yeah, more flatter. It's a flatter display, which is nice because that means you have more screen real estate to actually use, especially if you want to, let's say, highlight text on the edge of your display or edit photos. You have more of that real estate there versus that curved display that fell off where you really couldn't use it for that much. So I really applaud Samsung for that. Also, if you notice on the top and bottom, this actually curves towards the ends of each, so it's got more of a pillow effect to it. Feels really good in the hand. There's no sharp edges to this phone at all. Now, in terms of the front-facing camera, it is a single dot into the center of it, so it's symmetrically perfect. For those of you who didn't like it on the side, it didn't bother me either way, but it looks great. It looks fantastic. It is almost bezel-less. There's just a slight black bezel on the side of it, but honestly speaking, you're not gonna care, you're not gonna notice. It just, once you start seeing the images, that's all you care about, and they nailed it. You have no headphone jack in any of these phones anymore. Okay, it's 2020. We're all using Bluetooth, so it doesn't make a difference anyway, but just to put that out there for you. What else in terms of the specs here on the, I'm gonna look at this, sorry, I gotta look at the paper here. Give me a second. Okay, 4,000, okay, 4,000. In terms of the specs here on the S20, you have a 4,000 milliamp battery inside of the 6.2 inch display, which is plenty of battery. On the S20 Plus, 4,500 milliamp battery in that, and then for the Ultra is a 5,000 milliamp battery. I will move to the Ultra in just a second. I'm sure a lot of you want to hear about that, the specs, of course, the crazy cameras and all that stuff. We'll get there. But I think for a lot of you out there, the S20 and S20 Plus will be a great, great device for you. For me personally, if you're an active person out there, I'm gonna say you're gonna really like the feel of the S20. It's got a nice balance, really symmetrical in the hand. It's not too narrow, it's not too wide. It feels really good. Yeah, I mean, you're going to the gym, you want to pop this in your back pocket, or you're a cyclist out there, you're going to really like the S20. And also, you got great images on this thing. Yes, these other phones can do some hyper zooms on them, but for the most part, for day-to-day shooting, this is gonna be more than enough for you guys. More than enough. Now, the front-facing camera on this is what is the front-facing camera on it? Dude, 10 is on it? Is it 10? Are you sure, Kyle?
Yeah, you gotta check.
I am looking on the paper. It just doesn't tell me. Doesn't tell me. Where's it at?
There's a page behind.
No, doesn't tell me. Hold on. We gotta find that out. Where's it at? Doesn't say. Is it 10 megapixel? Because the one's on 45 megapixel. Shit, man. What is it? They don't tell you.
It should be 10 on the front.
There it is. Yeah, you're right. All right, okay. 10 megapixels for the front-facing camera on the S20, S20 Plus. Took me a while. We literally just got our hands on these devices, so I have to apologize on that. Doing my best to get this information out there to you. Even though you probably already went online, you looked at all the numbers, I do want to give you the correct information because certain markets it varies. Like for here in Singapore, we're gonna get the Exynos 990 processor. In America, you guys are gonna get the Snapdragon 865. So things are going to change a little bit. Also, when it comes to market, we're not going to get the 512 gigabyte storage version here. We're gonna get the 120 gigabyte storage here. See, things do change. I gotta keep you guys updated. Okay, but moving on to that. So the front-facing camera, from my initial impressions, is that the images are pretty good. Now you can turn beauty mode off, so you do still get a little bit of that skin softening. It's not harsh, but it is something to take note of. So if you wanna see every single pore on that, then this might not be the selfie camera for you, but you can just flip it around and obviously get more resolution on that. Besides that though, I mean, this is something that we're gonna have to take, we're gonna test out further to see what it's like to use on a daily basis. But I mean, if it's anything like the Galaxy S10 and the Note 10 out there, I'm sure it's gonna run flawlessly and beautifully. It's just about battery life, how long it'll last you throughout the day, the wireless charging, speeds like that, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, what I see initially out of these phones, I'm really, really liking. And I actually like this new gray that they have here. So they have the gray and they have this cosmic black. I think it's called cosmic gray as well. And this is the kind of gray that we're seeing on a lot of cars out there and a lot of devices. Kind of this sort of, it's a plain gray in a way, but it's got a sheen to it with the glass. You probably want to get a case for this because it will be a bit of a fingerprint magnet, by the way. Just want to point that out there to you. But I really like the gray. It's got a very professional look and a more urban look to it, but at the same time, very, very classy. Let's talk about the S20 Plus for a second. Now, it's got all the same specs as the S20, but you do get up to 3 hybrid optical zoom and up to 30 times space zoom. This is the new terminology for Samsung, space zoom. They want you to see into space. Yes, to go where no man has gone before. No, just, sorry, Star Trek moment. Anyway, yes, you do also get 8K recording on these devices when we get into the cameras at the back of this thing. 8K recording, you know what that means? Get your SSD drives ready, folks. No, I'm joking. I mean, actually, it's not going to be as massive, let's say, shooting on a red camera at 8K. It is a compressed 8K, but nonetheless, you get 8K recording. But if you want to record a lot of video, yeah, plug an SSD drive at the bottom of this because you're going to want to pull that off your phone because it will eat up 128 gigabytes of storage pretty quickly. So let's talk about the big boy, the Ultra. Now, a lot of people are always saying that Samsung sort of was holding back on their devices. They weren't putting all the latest technology in it. And Samsung said, nope, this time we're releasing the Kraken. They brought it all out. Anything you've ever wanted in a smartphone and things you didn't even think you wanted, you got it in this. 108 megapixel camera. That's for the wide. 48 megapixel for telephoto. 12 megapixel for the ultra wide. You got a time of flight camera. 6.9 inch Infinity O WQHD Plus display, 120 hertz refresh rate, Exynos 990, 5,000 milliamp battery. This is a very big device. I want to put that out there to you. This is a thicker device than the S20 and the S20 Plus, but it is 5G capabilities to it, and it's also got that bigger battery, so I don't mind the thickness to it because I'm getting a powerhouse of a phone that I know is going to be future-proof for at least 2 to 3 years. And it feels really good in the hand. I actually like a little bit of that thickness because when you've got a big phone, when it's too thin, it just doesn't feel right. So the balance is there on this. This display on a 6.9 inch display, look at this thing. I mean, you can see it. It's hard if you can see it now. I mean, it's black and it's YouTube. Yeah, but let me just tell you something. Honestly speaking, it's stunning. The camera housing on the back, it's massive. I don't care. I like big cameras. As a matter of fact, Kai Hong, where's the big boy at? Where's the big boy at?
Oh, geez, right there.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I like big cameras, guys, because you know, when they said it's got a 108 megapixel camera, I said, well, I got a 102 megapixel camera right here. How do they match up? Actually, we did a test for you. And we're going to show you the images side by side just to kind of give you a sense. And of course, the medium format camera is going to win. It's going to win, but it's very impressive what this camera can do. But one of the things that this camera makes it very special is that it is 100 times space zoom. 100 times. You probably didn't think you needed 100 times zoom on your camera. And you probably don't. Because when you're actually using it, you're going to get a lot of camera shake because it's just, even on a tripod, every little movement triggers. But it's quite amazing what they're able to do with the technology to go to 100 times zoom. But put that aside, the image quality of this camera is actually quite impressive. Comparing it to this, not bad. Not bad at all at 108 megapixels. Now, of course, it's pixel binning. It's not a true 108 megapixel sensor, but you know, we'll leave all that technical for the full review, but just first impressions, I'm pretty impressed with what the camera can do. All right, another feature I saw in this that I think is really cool, and this doesn't feel like a gimmick at all. This actually feels like it'll be very helpful for a lot of us out there, especially that we have cameras or phones that have multiple cameras, like ultra wide, telephoto, and wide, right? Is they have this thing called single take. So let's say you take a picture of a setting. It could be, you know, your friends at a wedding or your children or your dog, and you go like, do I go ultra wide? Do I go wide? Do I go telephoto? What do I shoot with? And usually you have to choose one and then go with that. With this one, you take a picture and it will do all the variants that the camera can do, and it puts it into a grid, and then you can select which was right for you. So you could say, well, I was taking pictures of my kids running around at the playground, and be like, oh great, the ultra wide actually looked better than the wide did. Or the telephoto zoom, I could zoom in on my kid, you know, in the sandbox there, that's great for me. Or I could do boomerang and all those kind of things that are available. So it does take a lot of the guesswork out of taking a photo or capturing a moment in your life. And I have a feeling we're gonna see this in other devices coming to market, because this is actually quite ingenious, especially with 3 cameras in the back. It makes a lot of sense, right? Especially with video and photography. So single take, that could be the winning feature of the S20, the S20 Plus, and the S20 Ultra. Not the space zoom, but single take, to me, that's the home run. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I would say that I'm really liking what Samsung's done with these phones out here. I feel that the S9, the S10, they were finding their footing. The S20 is really, I get why they jumped to the 20 variant, because they really have found, I think, this refinement to the phones, the power, the processing, I mean, everything, just the look of it. I think these could be some of the best Android phones we were seeing in the first half of 2020. And that's not even talking about the Note series coming out. I mean, but if the Note is anything like this, look out. But you know what? My heart, as much as this is wickedly cool with all the tech, my heart's still with the Z Flip. I like the Z Flip. Just me. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the S20, S20 Plus, and S20 Ultra. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We will be doing a full review on these products, so we will put it through its paces. We'll give you all the lowdown on it. But in the meantime, hope you enjoyed this. Like always, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.